What's good, everybody? It's DRE, starting off 2023 on a good note. Hope everyone had a good start to it so far, even behind any BS in 2022 where it belongs. When you come in, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. The likes are free and much appreciated. Let me know what you think of the topic tonight. So, do modern women want relationships or resources? Let's dive into it. So traditionally, women knew that pairing up was not only best for them, but also their offspring. Prior to about 1960, they sought a man plus what he provided. So he provided things such as the emotional aspect, which for a woman was stability. He also calmed her down and brought intelligence. Financially, he provided money, he provided a home, he provided source of income. Physically, he offered protection, strength uh, to do the things that she wasn't able to do uh, with her usually uh, less strengthened self, if you would. Spiritually, for the most part in Western society, he was the head of the house. He was the leader. He made stuff happen, right? He brought the plan to her and she implemented whatever the plan was. So these women uh, back in that time actually knew that in order to get this guy, they had to be on their A game, right? They had to bring their femininity. They had to bring uh, the attributes that he may have wanted in order to get the best possible deal, right, available. She also knew that there was a small window in order to get this done, typically from the ages of about 18 to 30, 32 years old. Today, we see quite the opposite, right? Obviously, with these modern women and in my culture, black women, 1 in 4 married. That's a typical um, stat that's readily accessible. Of the ones that do get married, right, 38% end in divorce. And that's what the highest amongst all cultures in the United States, right? Finally, if you throw in the enabling by the government, if you throw in the enabling by simps, the entitlement programs by, you know, uh, the society, right? Welfare, divorce court, just the Western culture in general. And then you add feminism on top of it, it's just a perfect storm to cultivate this madness that we see uh, in today's society, right? So, what do you guys think? Do you think that modern women want relationships, or do they want the resources? Right? We all know that they say one thing and do the exact opposite or something totally different. The common trend in modern day women in 2022 was basically they would seek out the resources for themselves. They would go to college, right? Or they would start a job or career or a online business to say that they don't need a man, that they can do it all on their own. Subsequently, they would also have their fun, live their best life, right? Have their hot girl summer. Many also went ahead and had children out of wedlock. So it wasn't usually until after the age of 35, right? After years of paying the bills, after years of doing it all for themselves, that they finally decide to say, hey, I need a man. But specifically, it wasn't for the man, it was for his ability to solve all her poor choices and problems, pay the lion's share of the bills, and exclusively cater to her. The only problem with that is what she needed matching what he needs out of her. And we have countless examples in these YouTube streets of how those two don't match up, right? Usually it's lopsided. She has a list or a scroll that she wants achieved, and he might have a few items, and he will just be happy to obtain her looks, maybe some occasional sex, and a hint of femininity, right? Anybody that knows anything about relationships, the base word is relate, right? And that requires balance. It requires a balance of masculine and feminine energy. What are the roles in a relationship, right? Somebody's going to be in charge, somebody's going to be following. There is no giving the steering wheel back and forth, right? One car has one steering wheel, one seat for the driver, one for the passenger. A lot of these chicks don't realize that the more of a masculine man you want, that's going to require more of you to be a feminine woman, and vice versa. If you want a feminine woman, that requires you to be more masculine. In 2022, we saw a lot of people try to take shortcuts, and that came back and bit them in the rear end. Man, all I got to say is vet, vet, and vet some more. Be sure she sees you beyond your wallet and your penis. Make sure she brings value to your life. In other words, is she desiring you and desiring to do those things you need her to do to get on your program? Paying the cost to be the boss, put in that work, put in that grind, right? Be on your purpose. That way you can pick the woman that's right for you instead of her trying to attempt to put you on her program, which, as we all know, if you try to make a woman quote unquote happy, that's a never ending struggle and a never ending changing array of emotions from day to day. Modern women, don't wait to be out here over the age of post wall. Otherwise, you'll be SOL looking around here wondering why and where and, and what you're going to do to get over on the back end of your life. So I just want to jump on here real quick, starting 2023, right off on a good note. Again, comment, like, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think. This is Diari, and I'm out, and we'll see you on the next one. I didn't catch you on there, Snowman. My bad. What's good? How are you? You actually my first person that is actually commenting today, so you're definitely going to have to get you up on here and take care of you, man. How's it going, Snowman? How was your day today? I hear you. I hear you. Well, as I say, man, the hardest day was yesterday, and as long as you continue to do that, you push forward, and you know, you make your opportunities what they are, and tomorrow is a new day. I've had members of my family fight cancer. Some have beat it, some haven't. So we obviously wishing nothing but the best for you, brother. So was just sitting on here talking about modern women, and do they value the resources more? Do they value the relationship more? What's your take on the snowman? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, the thing is, they are trying to sell us a dream. I think that's going to carry over from last year into this year. Um, I think COVID taught us men a lot, or should have at least. And if nothing else, a lot of these modern women have to understand that if they do what they need to do as women, they can get the best of both worlds. Oh, you just turned 50. I'm not too far behind you. Slowly catching up. I threw you a wrench, just a heads up. So, uh, again, appreciate you coming through and look forward to seeing you more often on the page. So, I was reading one of my books not too long ago, and it was obviously related to what we're talking about right now. It's called the 48 Laws of Power. I'm sure many people have heard of it. One of the laws is called Law 31, control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. So I'm going to read a little something from it, and you guys let me know what you think. All right. As a 17th century French courtesan, Ninon de Longus found that her life has certain pleasures. Did you say snowman? My wife has given me the relationship and resources and not of her. Most modern women don't get that old school mentality. They get it, right? They don't want to do what needs to be done. Um, they want to try to take shortcuts. How can I get the resources without doing the things that's required out of the relationship? And being a Gen Xer, what I'm discovering is they're lazy. If they can get, the resources, they can extract those things, then they're going to do it because you can't go to a man that has value and is going to make your life better and say, make my life better as a woman, but I'm not going to do anything to make your life better. The two don't go together. That man, if he has any sort of wherewithal or common sense, is going to get ghost, right? So anyway, uh, I'm gonna dive into this right quick. Again, 48 Laws of Power, Law 31. Control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. I'll try to summarize it as best I can. All right, as a 17th century French courtesan, Ninon de Lenclos found that her life had certain pleasures. Her lovers came from royalty and aristocracy, and they paid her well, entertained her with their wit and intellect, uh, satisfied her rather demanding sensual needs, and treated her almost as an equal. Such a life was infinitely preferable to marriage. Sound familiar? Keep in mind, this is 17th century, damn near 400 years later. But moving on. In 1643, however, Nina's mother died suddenly, leaving her at the age of 23 totally alone in the world. No family, no dowry, nothing to fall back upon. A kind of panic overtook her, and she entered a covenant, or correction, a covenant, turning her back on her illustrious lovers. A year later, she left the convent and moved to Lyons. When she finally reappeared in Paris in 1648, that's 5 years later, so she was 28, still in her prime. Lovers and suitors flocked to her door in greater numbers than ever before, for she was the witness and most spirited courtesan of the time, and her presence had been greatly missed. Ninon's followers quickly discovered, however, that she had changed her old way of doing things and had set up a new system of options. The dukes, seigneurs, and princes who wanted to pay for her services can continue to do so, but they were no longer in control. She would sleep with them when she wanted, according to her whim. All their money bought them was a possibility. It was her pleasure to sleep with them only once a month, or correction, if it was her pleasure to sleep with them only once a month, so be it. So let's stop right there. This is the same thing going on today. You have modern women out here that have accepted how things are in America. And instead of being feminine, instead of being cooperative, instead of being a good woman, a wife, they switch it up. And they realize they can get more money out of simps and men by selling them a dream and the hope and the possibility of just being with them, right? Let's move on. Those who did not want to be what Neiman called a poyer could join the large and growing group of men she called her martyrs. The martyrs were men, now listen to this. The martyrs were men who visited her apartment principally for her friendship, her fitting wit, her lute playing, and the company of the most vibrant minds of the period. The martyrs, too, however, entertained a possibility. She would regularly select from them a favori, a man who would become her lover without having to pay, and to whom she would abandon herself completely for as long as she so desired, a week, a few months, rarely longer. A poyer cannot become a favorite, but a martyr had no guarantee of becoming one, and indeed could remain disappointed for an entire lifetime. The poet Charlevoix, for example, never enjoyed Ninon's favors, but never stopped coming to visit. He did not want to do without her company. Pause again. This is no different than what's going on today. You got a bunch of simps, men that don't value themselves, men that are just out here with low self-esteem. They see a woman and they see her uh, physical beauty, right? Whatever that looks like. And they will go out here and take her out to eat. They'll take her places. They'll buy her shoes. They'll get her hair done. They'll get her nails done, right? They'll do all pay a bill. They'll do all these things, right? For the hope and the opportunity to eventually be in her favor and in her good graces, right? At the same time, right? What do we have? What's the argument that's been going on in these YouTube streets for the longest, right? The Pookie and the Ray Ray. But how I look at it, I look at it as it's the guy that gets her wet, right? The guy that gets her wet, he doesn't have to pay for her time. He doesn't have to contribute to her lifestyle. That guy, all he's got to do is just show up. That's it. So a guy or a simp can go his whole life, right? Rocking with this chick and just hoping that one day, if he just keeps being in her presence and paying for it, right? She'll take him out of the friend zone. But as a woman of somewhat intelligence, because these women are intelligent, why would she even do that? If a woman has 7 or 8 men, right? One's paying for utilities, one's giving her money, one's taking her out to eat. She's got a friend that's got muscle. Why would she even think about being uh, selected for one man? Let alone, why would she go ahead and uh, settle down into a relationship. And that's what you see today with these women. They take their cues from the celebrities, the entertainers, right? The actresses. And what do? They emulate what they see by social programming, right? Back to this real quick. Now, this is key. As word of this system reached polite French society, Ninon became the object of intense hostility, i.e., shaming. Her reversal of the position of the courtesan scandalized the queen mother and her court. Pause. Which in our culture we had shaming. In other words, if you was loose, if you was out there, if you was a strag, the culture pointed it out. Your mother pointed it out. All the women in the neighborhood pointed out. The church definitely pointed it out. But we don't do that no more because being a modern woman and being all those things that were once ridiculed is now cherished. So, much to their horror, however, it did not discourage her male suitors. Indeed, it only increased their numbers and intensified their desires. Once again, when you got men that are not used to being around women, don't know female nature, don't know male nature, they get a whiff of a female and they just lose their mind. They also just go ahead and give away what gives them leverage, right? Which is the ability to create, the ability to finance, the ability to give their masculinity and bless others with it, right? So you would think that in today's times, men would go ahead and wake up in mass and say, okay, we're going to vote with our feet. We're not going to go ahead and continue to uh, give these women our resources, even though they're easy to come by us. But no, they continue to do it. And the numbers have increased year after year, as we've seen, in today's culture. Back to this. It became an honor to be a Pari, helping Ninon to maintain her lifestyle and her glittering salon, accompanying her sometimes to the theater and sleeping with her when she chose. So what's a Pari today? Maintaining her lifestyle. Any man that invests his resources into a woman and that's not his woman, same thing. Her glittering salon. This woman took the resources from the men, right? Used that money and started up a salon. And she was able to multiply her resources. Meanwhile, the men were just giving away their resources, right? Which we find that happens when you're in your teens or your early 20s, right? And then once we hit 25, 26, 27, if we haven't been trained about masculinity, we wake up one day and we don't have anything. And now we're doubled down and we're dependent upon women to maintain our life. Meanwhile, the past 10 or 15 years, he maintained her life, dumb willingly and ignorantly so, right? Accompanying her sometimes to the theater. Once again, the masculine energy. Women need that. They feed off of that. Women need attention and they also need validation. But these men pay for it. They pay a woman to spend time with her, which in my mind is asinine, but that's just me, right? Lastly, sleeping with her when she chooses to sleep with him. And again, there's nothing wrong with the woman having a choice because we know women are the gateways or control the gateway to sex. That's great. Problem, there's way more women in this world than men, right? Now, the quality of women, that's a whole nother story. But what we gain leverage is, and this has been said before in these YouTube streets, shout out to KS, We control the access to the relationships. We control the access to the marriage. We control whether or not your life will go up, be stagnant, or go down. The quality of that man, right? So, even more distinguished were the martyrs, enjoying her company without paying for it and maintaining the hope, however remote, of someday becoming her favorite. Once again, simps being in the friend zone, just hoping one day, right? If I just keep being nice to her, if I just continue to smile at her, be at her beck and call, or solve her problems, maybe one day, she'll allow me to have sexual access. That possibility spurred on many a young nobleman as word spread that none among the courtesans could surpass the known in the art of love. This is textbook 101 female manipulation right here. We all know women have a tendency to say one thing and do something else totally different. So this woman at that particular time, by word of mouth, said, "Hey, I can do this. I can do this. This is how great I am in bed or behind closed doors." And word traveled fast, right? Look at today's modern women. If you get on social media, right, or God help you, a dating app, they'll say all these things that they're good at, right? But when the rubber hits the road, half of those things aren't even one, realistic. Two, she's not willing to do unless it's conditional. And three, you're taking her word, right, at just face value. If a woman was so good and so great, her body of work would speak for itself. In other words, she wouldn't have a line of men trying to sleep with her or saying, "Oh, she's this good in bed," or "She's a great mother," right? She would be that. She would be a good woman. She would be feminine. She would be cooperative. So, to conclude, Nanon talked to the married and the single man, the old and the young man. They entered her web and chose one of the two options presented to them, both of which amply satisfied her. The life of a courtesan entailed the possibility of a power that was denied a married woman. I'm going to say that again. The life of a courtesan entailed the possibility of a power that was denied a married woman, but it also had obvious perils. The man who paid for the courtesan's services in essence owned her, determining when he could possess her and when later on he would abandon her. Women today have switched the game up because now there are modern day courtesans. The only difference is they're extracting the resources and they're dictating what the man will do for her and if she'll allow it based on that hope. As she grew older, her options narrowed as fewer men chose her. To avoid a life of poverty, she had to amass her fortune while she was young. How often do we say that on these streets? You hear that every day. Marriage is a young woman's game. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Absolutely. But let's be clear. A woman has to leverage her youth, her looks, her womb, right? Her femininity, and go out there and get the best deal she can get. And as we know, as time goes on, her leverage decreases, but a man's leverage increases if he handles his business and does what he needs to do, right? So I just want to talk about that real quick. Um, Modern day women and courtesans, literally, you're talking what, 300 years apart? Same outcome, same result. Uh, ain't nothing new there. Again, that's from the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Great book, highly recommend it. So, that being said, 2023, what can we expect? I think that there's going to be a lot more, uh, obviously, people, men and specifically, demanding more in relationships. I think men are going to definitely see their value. They're going to hold the line. I think that women are going to want what they want, which is fine. However, they're going to have to realize if they want the relationship and the resources, they're going to have to get some act right about them. And if they don't get any act right about them, they're going to find themselves on the sideline another year. We live in a common and strange time right now, to quote another book. Um, and the quote goes like this. Uh, this is from Kemet. During those times, a wise and intelligent man was appreciated and valued, while a crazy, destitute, and poor man was looked at like he was crazy. But we're living in a bizarre world right now, right? Shout out Bobby Hemmett. Now we live in a time where a crazy, insane, destitute, uh, non-producing man is revered, and an intelligent, uh, masculine man that handles his business, and a man that can be a quote unquote positive role model, right? He's shunned. So it's going to be an interesting year. Like I said, modern women, they the reckoning is here, and I think that they're going to have a lot to figure it out. We're going to have a lot to figure out. So, Snowman, you still listening? You on here, or did you have to bounce off? Well, I've been on here for about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Likes are free. Uh, we got a lot of info to put out this year. Plan on growing the channel. Got a lot of moves to make, so appreciate everybody that stepped in, stopped by. Um, Looking forward to great things ahead for the year. This is DR, and I'm out. I'll catch y'all next time.